Fireflies, good evening to you. I hope you had a wonderful Monday and an even better Memorial Day. I hope you did something fun. Hope you had the day off. A lot of people did, so if you did, I'm hoping that you either had fun with your family or fun alone or went out with friends, did something that kind of celebrates an extra holiday middle of the year. So I would like to announce that we have now Buy Me a Coffee, and you will find that on the Flair site. And we are also going to have different tiers of membership. We're going to have Patreon, we're going to have all that good stuff. So if you like this channel, if you like the content, please think about supporting us on any of those. We would love to have your patronage, and we would love to continue doing what we're doing. We also love comments and suggestions, so please feel free to leave those down below. And with that, I will begin tonight's thing that we do. So, and if you are going to stick around to the end, I do have an announcement, so I'm hoping to see you there. I do want to start off with a little warm-up because it kind of distresses me that people don't necessarily take the time to warm up or to stretch or to get their bodies ready to move, or just as exercise, to keep your body moving, to keep your fascia moving. So let's just do a little bit just to get ourselves moving on this beautiful evening. And then we will get on to aspects of performance. So as usual, let's begin with a breath. Let's take your arms up through the middle this time. Take a deep breath in. And let them slowly sink down. And bring them up again. As you inhale and slowly let them come down. Let's do one more, just because it's a charm. Inhale and big exhale. All right, now I want you to look to your right, to your left, and to your right, and to your left. Bring it back to middle, and look down, and look up, and look down, and look up. And now we're doing tiny, tiny, tiny circles with our heads. Hello, Joanne. I am so happy to see you. I hope you're doing this with us, Joanne, but if you're just watching, I'm loving that too. Now, take your hands and clasp them behind your neck. If you have neck problems, as always, skip this part. Do not do anything, do not push your neck ever. We're just going to very gently push down, just to stretch out back of our neck, our upper body a little bit. So that. Little chin to the ceiling. And then we're going to go down again, but this time we're going to let our upper body bend just a little bit forward. It's like a roll. Let's come up again and take a nice wide stance. Good balance here. And we're going to let our shoulders sink forward. You're hunching your back up. Let your arms dangle, leave them loose. And roll up again. And now this time when you look up, I want you to try and keep your neck straight and just bend a little bit in your upper back. Just like you're tilting back to look at the sky, but you're using your back instead of your neck. Let's repeat that one, letting your shoulders sink forward. This is just your upper back, it's not all the way. Up again, and looking up to the sky. now we are going to do, focusing on our upper body today. We're going to do a little tilt, like we're leaning to the side, but try and use kind of this area that is your shoulder blade and above. Lean over to the side. See if you can get the feeling of that. It's not your shoulder going up, it's just your back. Side, and then come up to the middle, and go to the other side. And come up. I just like to repeat things, so let's do that one once more. And now I want to take you to let's start with the right shoulder today. And I want you to drop that right shoulder in a diagonal. So you're going towards your left foot with your shoulder. So you're just kind of leaning over. Looks like this from the side. And you're coming back up. You can bend your knees. This is kind of more of a relaxed one. I'm taking the other shoulder, and that's going to our right foot. Let's repeat that again. And once more. All right, so we're going to it's just kind of like a squat. So just bend your knees, but you're not trying to sit back. You're trying to stay over your legs, right? You want to have good balance. You want to have them wide enough apart that you feel really stable. And we're just going to bend down, but we're going to not lean back, not lean forward. We're just going to try and stay in the middle of our legs. Okay, and if you can, take your arms forward, come back up, and forward, and come up, getting our knees moving. Open and close your hands. Get the blood circulating your fingers. Little wrist roll. Forwards and backwards. We're going to letting our arms hang by our sides, and we're going to bend and stretch, bend and stretch. Okay, so just leaves our feet, take our feet, and just put the heel on the floor, and then wiggle from side to side. And those ankles ready. All right, just one more. I want to do our weight shifting exercise. It's because it's super important. It's something that we need to do frequently to get in our bodies, get that muscle memory, making it comfortable. So take your feet are going to be about shoulder width, a little bit wider, but make sure you're on a nice sturdy base. Your weight is in the middle. You're going to bend your knees just a little. You don't want to strain your thighs too much. Just want to have them a little bit bent. And then you're going to take your whole body and shift it over your right leg. Remember, this is not a tilt. We're not going like this or like this. We're trying to take our whole body, and it's like it's floating on one plane. We're shifting all of that weight, keeping it square, over our right foot. So if you needed to, pick up your left. And we're going to take it, I'm going to shift, and do the same thing over our left foot. Your right foot, you can add a little bit of weight on it, but you want most of it to be over your leg. And go back to the right, and back to the left. keep even, you're not leaning. And then forward and back, a couple of times on the other foot. And then we will get into today's topic. Good job, all of you. So, performance is my thing. I love it. I love it because that's kind of the accumulation of learning dance, and it's the way I express myself. I love to watch it. I love to do it. I love to see people's individuality. I like to see them show what's inside of them, feelings that you might not necessarily be comfortable sharing in any other way, or that you can't really talk about. It's like therapy. It's bringing out what's inside of you and making the people who are watching you feel what you're feeling. That's the most important. I mean, you can do stuff to impress people. There are performances where you're doing it to make people say, oh wow, but that is also an important emotion, to be impressed or to get that moment of excitement. So it can take many different shapes and forms, right? So you have performances on stages, at events, you have them at fashion shows, you have them just about anywhere, street fairs, and you also have it when you're on the dance floor. You see, people are not only having fun, but they're trying to look good too. That's why they practice. That's why they are trying to follow, trying to lead, trying to do something new. And it can also be something just for you. Maybe you just like to stand in front of the mirror and bring out something that is deep inside of you, and through the music, through the movement, you are showing that to yourself. So what makes a good performance? So even after all these years and many different performances, many different places, after I quit the theater, I was still performing a lot. And of course, I've also seen, I don't know how many, thousands and thousands probably. But even as a professional, my eye always goes to the same place first, and that's your face. Facial expression is so important no matter where you are, what you're doing. It's something you have to project if you're dancing on a stage, particularly if it's a big stage and there's an orchestra pit. It's usually very exaggerated. You have very exaggerated emotions because, as I said, the people in the last row, way up there, they have to see that. You have to be able to speak to them as much as you're speaking to the people in the orchestra section, who have the most expensive tickets, but it doesn't matter. They have paid for this performance and they deserve your attention. So you'll find that people who are used to performing on stage, sometimes when they're on camera, it's a little hard to pull it back because it really is a big movement, not only with your body, but with your face. So smaller venues, you want to dial it back a little. You want to but you still want very nice expressions. If you're sad, you're really sad, you know. If you're happy, you are joyous. If you're in love, you're in love. If you are angry, you're angry. So that is something that people, I feel like, should practice every bit as much as they practice the body movements. We tend to focus on technique, on the choreography, on whatever it is that we're doing, and think, oh well, you know, when I get on the stage, when I get to the performance, then I'm going to smile, then I'm going to, use my face, but it doesn't work like that. You need to be using your face when you're preparing for that performance, because with all the other things coming at you, the lights, the floor, things you're not familiar with, maybe there are people walking around if it's an event, and it's very disorienting. So you have lots of things to think about, plus you have to remember what you're doing, and you don't necessarily have time to think about your face. So this has to be practiced, this has to be in your muscle memory. When you're doing your face, you already know that, your face already knows that here you're looking very intense, here you're smiling, here you're looking sad and disappointed. All those things have to be prepared ahead of time. At least that's my recommendation, because it's very hard to do it on the spot. And it's something you also want to think about, because each performance is individual and you want to make it special for you. It's yourself that you're presenting. Maybe you're pretending to be someone else or something else, but it's still a part of you. So that is something that really needs to be addressed. Moving on down, what else do you look at? The arms, the upper body, and that holds true across the board. And social, it's very easy to get stiff. You're concentrating on leading or on following, and you see a lot of this, right? So when you get a little more advanced, you're able to start moving your body. You can do little arms. You can move your body so it gives the appearance of either being relaxed or being very rhythmic or sexy. So it's not just your arms, it's your entire body, and starting with your upper body. In ballet, that was wildly important. That was something that was practiced every day, so you would be showing lines. If it was, for example, Swan Lake, there would be wings, and each of the classical ballets had very specific movements, right? So you had Swan Lake, you had a very old ballet called Giselle, which was kind of, she dies in the first act and comes back as a ghost in the second act. So it was very kind of old-fashioned, usually a little bit forward and looking very serene, at least in the second act, not so much the first act. And so on and so forth. Don Quixote, that was very kind of aggressive arms. A lot of that, a lot of power in the movement, and any performance at all, that the arms and the upper body, that's what makes it special, because you can have amazing technique, and a lot of people do, but if your upper half is not telling a story, your technique is not going to really matter. So that is probably the next. And as I move down, yes, legs do count. They count a lot. And we've talked a lot about cleanliness of performance. Now, they're all different styles of dance, and each one has its specific technique. But one thing that is generally something is that if you put your legs together, you want your knees all the way together, right? If you're doing salsa, you don't want a separation. So if you look from the front, it's like this. You're not dancing like this, right? Doesn't look as good. Even from the side, it doesn't look as good. So you want your knees glued together. Doing bachata, you're gonna put your knees together with each step. And this will hold true for just about anything, of course in ballet, but even if you're just doing kind of a fusion or contemporary, each time you bring your legs through, you want those knees together. Moving on to your feet. Now, feet is something that takes a long time to be able to use effectively. So in ballet, that's really kind of what gives it its polish. Without learning how to use your feet, it's very difficult to do it on a high level. So every time your feet leave the floor, they're gonna point. I can't really do it in the shoes, but that's what finishes your line. That's what gives ballet its grace, right? That your foot is defining the movement, and you're also expressing with your foot. It's not just boom out there. Your foot is also helping you tell that story. And that's also true in jazz dance. It's true in many, many kinds of dance. But you don't necessarily need to use your feet for social dance or the kind that we're going to be doing. It can help, but if you can't point your feet, don't worry. You can dance anyway, and we are going to go forward with everything in spite of not pointing the feet. So you've got, when you're preparing for a performance, no matter what style, you're going to have a choreography. Some people do it themselves, they make their own steps up. Very often somebody else will make up those steps for you. In the theater, we had generally various choreographers. Sometimes it was the director of the ballet who did it very often. He or she did their own ballet, their own choreography. And sometimes guests came in and did it. Now the dancers themselves did choreography to bring on the stage, not so often. Usually you were there to perform somebody else's work. They told you what to do, and it was your job to fulfill that vision. You know, because everybody comes in with a different style and thinking, you know, this is what I want to present. Not always easy. You really have to be versatile. If it's a classical performance performed with the more or less original steps, that's pretty universal all over the world with a few variations, but I did a performance in the National Theatre of Mongolia, and the choreography there was the same as it was anywhere else that I had danced in Europe and other places. So it's usually just little scenes, little nuances that will be different. But if you do not have a choreographer, you can go online and just kind of choose something. If it's somebody else's work, you don't want to perform it for pay because that's kind of a no-no. But if it's just for fun, or just for learning, or you can approach people and say, look, can you do this for me? And generally they'll charge a fee, but you will have your own personal choreography. So once you have that, you must practice. And you must practice very much, because when you get on stage, again, everything looks different. Or if you're in an event, you're on the dance floor, lights are coming from all directions. If you're on the stage, you have lights coming from down up, from the end of the stage into your eyes, from the wings. It's all coming in event centers. They sometimes have spinning lights, flashing lights, whatever. Sometimes people get a little too close because they don't realize that, you know, maybe you're gonna kick now, maybe you could use a little space here, right? But they don't know that. They don't know what you're doing. So that's all things that you have to be aware of. Therefore, you need to have that choreography really, really memorized. Memorized so much that even if you completely black out, you're like, I cannot remember anything. That your body just keeps moving. That your body already knows what to do. It's not even worried about what your brain is doing, because your body just keeps moving. It's doing what it needs to do. So that, how much to practice, it depends on the difficulty of the piece, where you're performing, what's involved. But you do want to be so comfortable that you're almost on autopilot. And that's also when you can add the facial expressions and meaning. When I say meaning, it's not just your face that is expressing. Your arms are also doing a lot of the work. In formal dance, there's positions, right? So they're going in a very kind of pre-described position. But when you're performing, you want to be using your body and particularly your arms and hands to tell a story. So even if choreographer says, look to the side, you want to make that gesture have a meaning. It can be strong, it can be gentle, it can be sweet. It can be many, many things, and that goes for any kind of movement you're doing. So, if your arms are going over your head, it's the same rhythm. Evil. You can be good. You can be sad. You can be hopeful. So if there's a song you're using and it has words, even if it's in a language you don't understand, you can Google it, you can work along those lines, but you don't have to exactly describe the music. So you don't want to be too much like so I love you. That is a little too much. Yeah, you want it to be more abstract. You can describe your love for somebody with other movements. They don't have to be exact. This is an abstract story, but it is a story. And that's also something that if you're so fortunate as to have a coach or a teacher, somebody's helping you with that, they can help you with that. Otherwise, that's something you have to think about. You have to, and it doesn't happen right away. You just have to think, what do I want to say with the whole piece? And what do I want to say with each gesture? Because there are a million things that you could say with each step that you take. And whether it's simple or not, you want to bring across what it is that you're trying to say. So, anyway, that's just kind of a little sampler about some of the things that are involved in performance, and we're definitely going to be talking more about this, and we're also going to be preparing to do it. So even if your goal is just to do it for yourself, or to be on the dance floor and social, or do it for family and friends at parties, or if you are having recitals, the more you do it, it's like anything else. The more you do it, the better you get at it. The less shaky, the less mistakes you're going to make, the more comfortable you're going to feel, and the more free to be able to express what your dance is trying to say. So we are going to be starting some choreography, and it's beginner friendly, it's for everybody. Just little snippets. We're going to learn them together, And we are going to take all of the aspects and learn about them in this one piece of choreography, and after that one, we'll go on to another one. And by the end of it, I hope you will have a nice little piece for whatever it is that you want to do. And that's really up to you what you want to do with it. But I think this is really a fun way to express yourself and to get your brain working in different ways, and maybe even to show off a little, to have something for your social media. So with that, Flair Flies, I will see you in the next video, and we will start learning a few steps. This is a fusion. You don't have to have a particular style. It's going to be a little bit of everything. So I hope to see you there, and I hope also that you have a wonderful rest of your night. Goodbye, my Flair Flies. I love you all, and I will see you in the next one.